The Dauntless. Secret Agent Man, they've given you a number and taken away your name. Private Stream sings to himself in English as he downright skips through the hall of the embassy. The Therasite Republic has an all hours of the day open door policy. They're certainly large enough for it to be staffed at all times. He gladly walks through the area, not bothering to conceal himself as he moves around the bureaucrats and assistants all over the place. For all that, the planet is overpopulated, cramped, and inefficient. Centris is still the main hub of galactic diplomacy, much to everyone's detriment, but still, there's plenty to be grateful for, especially as how a place like this has a running record of everyone inside it. He is looking for one person in particular, though. After a bit of glancing around, he notes they're not in the room. So it's time to be cute about it. He walks right up to the nearest receptionist and politely waits in line. This gets him some glances, but no more than the singing and skipping. Although he does have the song stuck in his head, so he's humming the theme. After about 3 minutes, the line clears and the receptionist is blinking down at him through her digital readout glasses. Yes? How may I help you? Private Stream, ma'am. I have a delivery for your spy Jadza Tarn. It's for her birthday, he announces in as innocent, eager, and oblivious a tone as he can manage. The woman's face goes through about 15 different expressions in half as many seconds and settles on incredulous. You have a birthday present for a spy. Yes, ma'am. A spy you believe is working for the Therasite Republic? Yes, ma'am. Is this a joke? No, ma'am. Why a birthday present? Because it's her 73rd birthday soon, ma'am. Does she even celebrate birthdays? She did last year, ma'am. Last year? Aren't you from the humans? How? You weren't out in the galaxy last year. No, ma'am. Then how do you know what she was doing last year? Video records, ma'am. You have access to... You know what? No. I'm not playing this game. Please leave the embassy. I'm not playing along with whatever sheer madness is being done today. I'm not paid enough for this. Please depart, she states, and he reaches into his coat and pulls out a Proton credit disc and puts it on the counter. Are you paid enough now? He asks, and she just stares at him. Get out, she tells him. But I still have a present to deliver. Out, she orders him, and he sighs before turning around to leave. And take your bribe with you, she retorts, throwing the credit disc at him. He turns and catches it. Well, damn. This place has great hiring standards, he notes to himself as he walks out of the embassy. Time to do things the fun way. She opens her apartment door with a sigh. A 5.5-hour workday, all of it behind a desk and trying to sort out the sheer madness that was the Undaunted. You'd think an organization that had all its plans, employee information, and digital data all but in public access would be easy to figure out. But no, far from it. One moment they were seemingly unstoppable forces of nature, with each soldier the equivalent of an entire army alone, facing off against empty hand masters in personal combat with an untried, improvised martial art and impressing them, or declaring themselves a grand patriarch and proving it. Then the next you were catching them challenging people to dance-offs to the death, or pulling a massive, pointless, painfully obvious shell game with an entire legion of false child soldiers. It was so well embodied with that encounter with the older human. He had been terrifyingly competent and had been outright playful the entire time, despite completely tearing apart her mission. Things had then gotten worse today when there was apparently a present for her being delivered, but it had been stymied by the receptionist by one of the shell game children. Apparently a bribe had been attempted, and the video file itself had been downright dumbfounding to witness. It had made her downright ashamed that she was still somewhat intimidated by the Undaunted after witnessing such a pathetic and obvious infiltration attempt. But there was something that she hears the tiniest little click, and her pistol is out even as she ducks down. A recording of a stringed instrument starts, and a song in the human language of English starts playing. The same one that the private stream had been singing when he had been in the embassy lobby. Oh, no. She moans as she stands up. Little wretch made the delivery. The source of the song is on her favorite pillow, and it's a tiny music player clipped onto a sealed envelope. She turns it off and quickly finds out the triggering mechanism was a tiny shortwave radio transmitter that activates if a line that extends from it is disturbed. The click she heard was the nearly invisible line retracting back so fast that it hit the plastic case. If this had been tied to a bomb, I would be already dead. If they wanted to hurt me, then they've already had the perfect opportunity to put the pistol to my head and pull the trigger. Therefore, logically, this is not a trap. It says quite a bit about her current experiences with the Undaunted that the fact that she triggered a trap already actually calms her. Unless that's what they want, and it's just a method to put her guard down in order to... She shakes herself out of the cycle of paranoia and simply picks up the envelope that the music player had been attached to. She then reads the handwritten letter. Then she rereads it and closes her eyes tightly for a few moments before opening them and reading the letter for a third time. Well, this is a lovely gift, if it's real. But why? She asks herself. I need to call my employers. Although the first thing I'm getting is more overtime, this is insanity. Slinky dark blue gown sparkling in the evening lights? Check. Lightly dressed up face in a perfect balance between inviting and rejecting? Check. Kutha ring with a hidden pistol within a rune? Check. All her fangs brushed, polished, and flossed? Check. Hair a teasing flare? Check. Security watching from the cameras? Check. Backup in a nearby van just in case? Check. Hidden honor blades in her purse? Check. High-heeled shoes that turn her every step into a tempting sway? Check. Hidden camera, microphone, and earpiece? Check. Delicate golden chain necklace with an abstract but beautiful design in gold and platinum? Check. This was not how she wanted to spend her birthday. Running a counter-sting operation against a potentially hostile power that was confusing as all hell to herself and her superiors was just too much work. At least she'd be getting a good meal and some entertainment out of it. Miss Tarn? A deep but smooth voice asks, and she turns to see... Oh, that's not fair. How does a man look delightfully imposing and so adorably vulnerable at the same time? His short, wavy hair, healthy brown skin, and nervous smile are just the first impression, followed by the huge impression of his broad shoulders from under his formal jacket and the bouquet of yellow tallure flowers. Flowers of proposing romance with the yellow of earnestness. Modin Maji? She asks, and he smiles. Indeed, Miss Tarn, though I am often called M and M in my department, he says before holding out the flowers. These are for you. I was told that you would appreciate these. Thank you, she says. He can't possibly know the cultural significance of him giving the flowers over carrying them or wearing them, can he? Is he actually proposing to? Her apartment is a mess. She tossed it looking for bugs and didn't have time to clean. She can hear her handler outright choke at that move. The man's dark gray suit is very flattering to his intensely powerful physique, but his body language is all but singing sweet, virginal, and nervous. The simultaneous urges to jump into his arms and to assure him that everything will be all right hits her from both sides, and she finds herself boxed in. Thank you, she says, remembering herself. Tell me, why me? Why are you here? I've been a bit more reclusive than some of my peers would like, so they've decided to do me a favor and get me out in public more. They organized all this and told me to just be myself, which those fools seem to have forgotten that means honest and straightforward. Sorry. The honest little smile after that sells it, and she starts screaming internally. Oh no. Oh goddess. He's either a very good spy or is being honest and is just here for a date and possibly more, meaning that her best chance to get lucky in years and her boss is watching her. I see. Well, there's no reason we can't enjoy ourselves regardless, she says in as suave a tone as she can manage as they're both shown to their table. Tell me, what's your usual day like? I generally have 3 types of days. Basic duties, which include ship maintenance, extra weapon and combat drill and guard patrols. I also am one of the assistant quartermasters, so there are entire days and sometimes weeks filled with nothing but logistical work. But you need to make sure that everyone has the right type, right size, and a matching pair of boots, otherwise a military starts to fall apart. Finally, there are the more fun days where I'm researching with the rest of the nerd squad, he explains to her. The style of seating in this restaurant has them both right next to each other and almost cuddling. This does nothing to prevent the internal screaming. Oh, they've already ordered for us. I'm so sorry. When my friends get pushy, they push hard. You had to be pushed to come here? She's vaguely insulted despite herself. I get stuck into patterns really easily, he confesses and chuckles. To be honest, doing anything other than following my hobbies is something I generally need to get forced into, no matter how pleasant it is. The first course is brought over, a pair of small soups with tiny bits of finger food around them. So tell me, you've been listening to me plenty, but what about you? What brought you here? One of your higher-ups decided that I somehow earned a birthday present. Oh, happy birthday. I wasn't told. I would have brought a gift. You are the gift, she says plainly, and he pauses, and she is easily capable of reading his face, and thankfully it doesn't take long, or any time at all really, for him to understand her meaning. He looks away in thought before giving her a much more considering look. I'm still going to hit him on principle. On principle? She asks, to keep him talking and get some information. You don't whore your brothers in arms, he says in an enormously aggrieved tone. Don't laugh. Do not laugh. Do not laugh at that. So, you don't want to be here? She teases. She thinks she's got him pegged. Somehow. He is somehow an adorably innocent young man with the body and training of a nearly unstoppable super soldier. How this came to be, she does not know, but she likes it. She really, really likes it. Know that. I do. I'm on a date with an absolutely gorgeous woman. It's just, I think I should stop talking. No. Keep going. She teases lightly. Is this an actual gift? It's starting to look more and more that way. Well, you are gorgeous. Let's be frank. I have yet to see an alien woman that isn't an outright child or suffering from some terrible disease or injury that isn't beautiful on a scale that she could win any pageant or contest on Earth. You're no exception. Just looking at you is, well, there's a reason I keep looking away. I'll lose focus if I don't. Oh, Kaylee, take me, I'm babbling, he mutters. He just referred to a human goddess of power, destruction, and femininity. One of her handlers states, and Jadza is very tempted to turn off the devices to have some alone time with this man. Oh no, please continue. I'm liking what I'm hearing. She outright purrs at him, and the slight flush over his face is beyond adorable. How in the name of any goddess did they keep this man this adorable? You can't keep things this cute even in a lab setting. The soups are barely touched by the time they're taken away and the salad course is brought next. Jadza cannot help but smile serenely. She doesn't care if this is a trap of some kind anymore. If the bait is this good, it's worth it.